Moms love their kids. The very first thing we do as moms to show that we love our kids is to feed them. It's the most natural act in the world. And yet recently a South Carolina mom was arrested and almost jailed for doing just that, feeding her son. Now how can this be? Unfortunately, this poor kid was only 14 years old and yet weighed 500 pounds. Now, that's an extreme. However, we are facing a crisis right now in the United States of childhood obesity. 1 in 10 children is considered obese. Now, what we're going to do today is just kind of think and talk a little bit about why this is happening. Who's responsible for this? Think about media, new technologies that we have, parents' influence, the child's own psychological influence, and of course genetics. Now, starting with media. Did you know that 46% of the average family's food budget is spent on restaurants and fast food? If you've ever gone to McDonald's, you know how much is in a Big Mac, you know how much is in a fries. It's ridiculous. I don't know about you, but whenever I go to a restaurant, I can never eat everything that they give me. And if we're recommending that this is what a good portion is, that's way too much. Think about how much of that is spent. The family dollar is spent on this kind of eating. Now, only 2% of kids are actually meeting the recommended guidelines of all 5 food groups. That's not much. No wonder we have so much obesity. When kids go to school, we try to have good meals planned for them. However, if they have money in their pocket and they go to the vending machine, they're going to still face more options of junk, sugary things, salty things, fatty things, sodas. It all adds up. Ever since No Child Left Behind was introduced, many states have been eliminating their phys ed programs. Some have cut back, some have actually eliminated. Now, I know that we want kids to pass tests, we want them to excel in academics. We can't do that at the risk of having such a problem. Only 25% of kids, in fact, are even getting 30 minutes per day of exercise. Think back to when our parents and we were children, we were outside all the time. Today, kids are sitting in front of the TV, sitting in front of video games. It's not good. Now, okay, we're going to say that parents, of course, are responsible for part of this. Can't they shoo the kids outside? Can't they get the kids to eat better? Well, if moms aren't home or dads aren't home, when latchkey kids come home, there's nobody to tell them, go outside and play. It's a whole lot easier to turn that video game on. Another thing to consider, moms who are overweight often don't notice that their own children are overweight. Not so much notice it, but even recognize it, because they're not recognizing it in themselves. Something else that we found out through a study, women of lower income were a lot less likely to even realize what overweight was. If you're spending your food dollar, you want to get the best buy. I bought these for $1. That's cheap. They're also filled with fat. For $1, I probably could have bought an apple and a half, so there you go. Many parents even are so involved in their own lives with meetings, going to the gym, going to the club, they don't notice, is my kid getting outside and playing? Do I really need to take them to that club? They get just too involved in doing their own thing. Now, unfortunately, genetics haven't changed. We haven't seen all of a sudden people are changing the way that their bodies are formed, yet people are so much more obese. It hasn't happened in a snap with anybody's body changing in evolution. However, we're seeing that with people being overweight. Kids gain most of their attitudes and their behaviors between 5 and 10 years old. So if parents aren't watching and if they're seeing all these ads from the media at that age, that's what they're going to develop. It's really hard to change that once you get a little older and it's ingrained in there. We have such an addictive society too. How many people can't put down their cell phones, can't stop texting, can't stop smoking? Kids see this stuff and they learn from it, and they learn these bad habits such as poor eating habits. Now, is this likely to change anytime soon? Not really. If things don't change in our government, if things don't change in education, in our schools, we're going to continue to see a lot of overweight kids. And not only is this upsetting for children, but it's also going to become a burden on our society as far as financially. People who are overweight suffer more from diabetes, from several different kinds of cancer, from arthritis. So that puts not only an emotional but also a financial burden on our country. Let's face it, we have a lot of people in our country who are not eating the way that they should, and we need to work on that. So thank you for your time.